Dear students, I welcome you back in the Unit 5th, Lecture 2 of Computer Organization and Architecture, that is KCS 302. In today's lecture, we will start, we will discuss regarding the topic interrupts. This is a very interesting and very important topic of this Unit 5. Here you will learn what an interrupt is, how it works, different type of interrupts, and their working and the processing. Let's start with the interrupt in the input-output unit 5th. The different type of questions when arise in our mind when we are saying what an interrupt is. Simply in a English language, in a dictionary meaning, when interrupt is the interrupt meaning to stopping something, to interrupting something, or to simply you can say to disturbing something from its actual process. In other words, you can say what is the actual process? Actual process means the work which is going on. You are stopping that particular work from its general process, general routine, and assigning some another work, some different task, some different routine, subroutine into that particular work. So we will discuss, we will learn what an interrupt is, how it is different from the subroutine. Thereafter, different type of interrupts like software interrupt, hardware interrupt, exceptions, parallelly interrupt processing, how a interrupt can process, whether it work in the protected mode, it work in the real mode. Parallelly, you will learn about the software interrupts, the different type of software interrupts like keyboard services, different keyboard operations like interrupt 21H, that is a DOS service, interrupt 16H, BIOS service, exceptions like single step example, hardware interrupt, accessing IO, peripheral support chips, writing user ISR, interrupt service routine, etc. So let's start what an interrupt is, what are the different type of interrupts are. Interrupts, as I told you, alter a program's flow of control. Means whatever is the flow of a program, whatever the flow of a process is going on, you stop that, you alter that, you interrupt that, or you can say in a simple words, you disturb that. That is called as the interrupt or simply interruption. Interrupt alter a program's flow of the control. The behavior of the interrupt is very similar to the procedure call. I understand. I hope that you must be aware with the what a procedure call is, what a RPC is. What a RPC is, it's a remote procedural call. What a procedural call is, if you are calling some another function into a program in a function, then it is called as a procedural call. So this is this is different. However, if we are calling a function, if we are inviting a remote procedural call or a procedural call in a program, then we will say some interrupt has been occur. But that's not an interrupt. That's a call. We ourselves is inviting, the program is ourselves is inviting another function, other work to be to assist our to make more efficient of our program. Then we can say it's a procedural call. But if the program which is being interrupted it is not related to that particular process or a program. For example, if I am inviting, if a procedural call is coming into a program, then that is related to that program. That procedural call is related to that program. But in the interrupt case, the program which is being interrupted and the program which is going to interrupt that program are not related to each other. They are altogether different. Means a program which is interrupting is having a different agenda, and a program which is being interrupted is having a different agenda. So this is the main difference. If you are being asked what is the difference between an interrupt and a subroutine, or an interrupt between difference between an interrupt or a procedural call or RPC, then the only difference is that procedural call or subroutines are the type of branch change or jump in instructions or another instructions which are related to that program only. But interrupts are there are two programs which are running parallelly, but they don't related to each other. They have not to take anything from each other. So this is the main difference. Some significant differences between the two are interrupt cause transfer of the control to an interrupt service routine, that is called as ISR. It is called as interrupt service routine, ISR. ISR is also called as handler. It is again called as handler, means which complete process, but complete you can say throughout the program execution, who take care of the execution, who take care of the record of the things. You are storing your program somewhere else, or keeping the updating the program counter, stack pointer, that is being done by the handler. And what is this handler is? That ISR is the handler. When the ISR is completed, the original program resumes execution. Interrupts provide an efficient way to handle unanticipated events. So this is the requirement, this is the function of ISR. As far as the taxonomy, as far as the interrupt taxonomy of Pentium, say example, we are taking the example of Pentium only, Pentium processors. Interrupts can be of three types, that is called as exceptions, software interrupts or hardware interrupts. So exceptions can further divide. These can be called as abort, fault or traps. I feel you might be having some knowledge about the abort, fault and the trap difference. You have some knowledge about that. Abort means to killing something. If you are killing a program, if you are aborting a program, that is a exception. It's a type of means killing the program. That is called as the abort. If the fault has been occurred, you are executing a program and some fault has occurred, then it's again an exception. What is a trap? Trap, you as an English word means, trap means a net, a jal. Simply, what is the meaning of the trap? Trap means going a process, a program going into a halting situation. If a program or a process reached into a halting situation, then it is called as a trap. What is the meaning of the trap? How can you say, give the example of the trap? The example of the trap means division with zero. If you are dividing something with the zero, your program will go into the halting situation, and simply you can say it got into a undefined loop, indefinite loop. So this is called as trap. As well as software interrupts are there, different software interrupts we are already providing, we have discussed. Thereafter, some hardware interrupt are which can be maskable and non-maskable. What are the maskable? Which can be ignored. The interrupts which can be ignored are called as maskable interrupt. But what are the non-maskable interrupts? The interrupts which can't be ignored are called as the non-maskable interrupt. For example, you are working in a program, you are working with the laptop, and someone coming and switching off your system from the main supply, then that is called as non-maskable interrupt or hardware interrupt. So this is the taxonomy of the Pentium interrupts, as well as the interacting with the IO devices, how different devices, various ways of interacting with IO devices has been given into this particular figure. For example, at the top we are having application program, and at the bottom we are having input output devices. How they work, how the input output devices are working or the executing their functions, providing their services to the application program are with this particular diagram. You can see input output device can directly work with the DOS port, or it can directly work with the application program parallelly with the help of this is BIOS port and the DOS port. So this is the very simple diagram how our input output devices are interacting with the application program through with the help of DOS and BIOS port. As far as interrupt working is concerned, in program control IO, when we are saying when the processor continuously monitors the status of the device, it does not perform any useful task. For example, I'm saying some input output work is to be done. You are executing a program, and into that particular program, some information, some data is being required from some input device, means the processor is waiting to enter by the user. Processor is waiting to some event to be occurred by some input device or output device, means the movement of the mouse or entry from the keyboard by the user. But At that time, the processor is waiting. It is continuously checking the status of the input output device. On that time, what is being required? Some function may be done by the processor. The ideal time of the processor can be used into another important process or an important work. So parallelly, an alter approach which would be for the IO devices to alter the processor when it become ready. Processor can perform other useful tasks while it is waiting for the device to be ready. So we want to minimize the waiting time of the processor, and for that very purpose, some interrupt services are being required. As far as interrupt service routine is the function, the working of ISR is from the below diagram you can see. I will first of all I will show you the working of this diagram, how it is working. Thereafter, I will give you the brief theory of the complete function. You will see. This is the interrupt. This is a particular program one that is executing. We are executing this program one, starting from over here and ending up to till here. For example, if this is the starting point, executing the program, we have executed this program till here. Here, for example, some interrupt has been occurred. At this line, you are finding some interrupt. Interrupt I has been occurred. It has occurred over here, and it will be there till the I plus 1. So what will happen over here? This particular program will be halted over here, will be stopped over here, and this function, this complete control of the processor, the system will be provided to this particular another program which is being which has interrupted. This is the program which is being interrupted, and this is the program which is going to interrupt this program. So at this particular time, this time is given to the another function, another process, and this will be executed over here till the moment it has been completed. The line of code, LOC line of code of this program has been completely executed. Thereafter, the transfer will be given to the same place. This has been, the transfer has been, the control has been transferred. This control has been transferred to the previous program which was being interrupted. So again, after getting the control, after getting the transfer of the control I plus 1 at the level of I plus 1, this program 1 will execute again, and you can see the complete function, complete working of this program 1. You can see this has been explained over here. Processor is executing the instruction located at the address I. When an interrupt occurs, routine execute in response to the interrupt request is called the interrupt service routine. This is called as interrupt service routine. Thereafter, when an interrupt occurs, control must be transferred. The control of this particular will be transferred to this. Control must be transferred to the interrupt service routine. But before transferring control, the current contents of the PC I plus 1 must be saved in non-location. Means we are stopping this, and till here the working of this program has been completed. So this particular working must be shared, must be saved in some non-location of the system, and that is being done by this program counter. This will enable the return from interrupt instruction to resume. If after this we will resume our working again. So from at what level? From the we have not to start from the beginning. We will start from the level I plus 1. Because of the reason, because we have saved, the program have saved its previous status at some non-location. This will enable the return from interrupt the instruction to resume its execution at I plus 1. Return address or the content of the PC are usually stored on the processor stack. As far as interrupt service routine is concerned, I told you it is again called as a handler. We can say ISR is a handler which transfers the control from the program which is being interrupted to the program which required some services of the processor, and thereafter vice versa. Vice versa means from that the program which is going to interrupt to the program which was interrupted. So this complete process is being done with the help of interrupt service routine, that is called as the handler. Treatment of an interrupt service routine is very similar to that of a subroutine. However, there is significant difference. What is the difference is that a subroutine perform a task that is required by the calling program. Understand? I told you in the previous slide, the main difference between the subroutine and the interrupt is that subroutine, the call, the procedural call is related to that particular to that very program. But the interrupt, the two programs which is going to interrupt or which is being interrupted, there is no relation between these two programs. So interrupt service routine may not have anything in common with the program it interrupts. I told you. Interrupt service routine and the program that it interrupts may be belong to different users. As a result, before branching to the interrupt service routine, not only the PC but other information such as condition code flags and the processor register used by both of the interrupt program and the interrupt service routine must be stored. This will enable the interrupted program to resume execution upon return from the interrupt service routine. So, as far as this is concerned, so by this way we can understand the difference between the subroutine, difference between a procedure call, and difference between the interrupt. This will parallelly interrupt service routine and the program that an interrupt may be belong to different users. As a result, before branching to the interrupt service routine, not only the program counter, but other information such as condition, code flag, processor register used by the both interrupt program and the interrupt service routine must be stored. This will enable the interrupted program to resume execution upon return from interrupt service routine. What is the meaning of this line? It tells that after completion of the execution of the program which has been interrupted, the control of the processor, the control of the system will be given to the previous program. So that is return from interrupt service routine. As far as the priority is concerned, now the question arises that how you will define the priority, how will you execute, how will you give the priority of two interrupts. If, for example, we are working and we have got 2 or n interrupts at a time t, then how will you define the priority? Which type of action, which type of, to whom the system control, the processor control should be given by the handler, by the interrupt service routine, ISR. To decide that particular different type of schemes, bus arbitration schemes, or you can say priority arbitration schemes has been defined. There are 3 types of priority arbitration schemes, that is called as daisy chaining, polling, and independent interrupt or independent request. So in this, by this 3 methods, we can define the interrupt priority. However, priority can be changed by the instruction that write into the processor status register. If there is an attempt to execute a privilege instruction in the user mode, it causes special type of interrupt that is called as privilege exception. So let's start with the 3 type of interrupt priority. The first one is daisy chain. As the name shows, a chain, a link, a one-to-one link of the devices onto the bus has been done over here. A connection like a chain, like a daisy chain is being done over here. Devices are connected to form a daisy chain. Device shared the interrupt request line and interrupt acknowledge line is connected to form a daisy chain. When device raise an interrupt request, the interrupt request line is activated. The processor in response activates the interrupt acknowledge, revise the device 1. If device 1 does not, received by device 1, if device 1 does not need service, it passes the signal to device 2. Device that is electrically close to the processor has the highest priority. Means, for example, you can take example of the chain, a queue. I am the, for a person, a line of the ticket at the ticket counter is there, the person that is very near to the ticket counter will be receive the service first. This line tells the device that is electrically close to the processor means the person that is close to the ticket counter will receive the ticket first. Because if I am considering that line as a daisy chain, everyone is requesting to purchase a ticket, but the person who is very closest to the ticket counter will receive the or will having the highest priority. So you can see the simple example. Here, n number of devices are connected. These all are connected to each other. For example, this is the processor, or you can say the ticket counter, or the service provider. You can say we can say processor as a service provider because it is providing the different services: read service, write service, execute service, control service to the different type of devices. So if I am saying it's a service provider, it's a ticket counter, or it's a processor, the device very near to is this particular device, then second priority of this device, third priority of the device. When in the situation, if it is asking for a request, it is asking for a request, it is asking for a request, then the first it will be served, then this will be served, then this will be served. Otherwise, if it is asking a request but it is not asking a request, then the control will transfer to this particular device. This is the working of the daisy chain. You can understand. I feel I am repeating again. For example, these are the some devices which are connected serially in a daisy chain in a common bus through a common acknowledge bus. So to serve this processor will provide the control to this device, or any other device, and that device. A device which is very near will be served first. If it is not having any request, interrupt request, then the next device will provide the service. If it is not having any request, then this device will provide the request. So when IO devices were organized in a daisy chain fashion, the device shared an interrupt request line, and the interrupt acknowledge propagate through the device. A combination of priority structure and daisy chain scheme can also be used. So this is the very simple example, very basic example. By this, you can understand the bus arbitration or the priority arbitration of in the daisy chain. Next is polling scheme. As the term polling means, like you can say we vote, we do the voting or the polling of who will be the MLA, MP, or any another you can say political designation you can choose, who will be the person who will be elected for some this designated posted political designated posted. For that we are voting, we are giving some our views in the term of vote. Parallelly, here different devices give their views in terms of polling. Means n number of devices are there connected to a bus arbitration or connected to a priority arbitration structure or circuit. Every device give their poll, every device give their there is a mechanism to poll the status register of IO devices to determine which device is requested an interrupt. Out of that polling, out of that selection, the circuit, the control circuit will decide to whom the interrupt should be given. So this is depend upon the complete decision will be depend on the this particular architecture, or simply you can say the circuitry, control circuitry, or the bus arbitration circuitry. Simply you can see if the processor uses a polling mechanism to poll the status register of IO device to determine which device is requesting an interrupt. In this case, the priority is determined by the order in which the device are polled. The first device which status bit set to 1 is the device whose interrupt request is accepted. So we will decide after giving the indication the whose request has been accepted will be given with the high value, high signal, or simply you can say bit set to 1. The bit set to that particular device will be set or enabled to the 1. By this way, the one device can understand I have given the authority to do my work or to access the interrupt. As far as the next is concerned, it is independent request method. Means every device is having a separate interrupt request and a separate interrupt acknowledgement. You can see over here. Every device, the complete priority arbitration priority circuit is having, this device is having a separate interrupt request, a separate interrupt acknowledge. Means every device is having an independent complete circuitry to ask for a request and get a acknowledgement. By this way, we can understand that every device is independent to each other, no connection. Who will decide the priority, the complete priority will be given, will be depend upon the processor. Each device has a separate interrupt request and interrupt acknowledgement line. Each interrupt request line is assigned a different priority level. Interrupt request received over these lines are sent to the priority arbitration circuit and the processor. If the interrupt request has higher priority level than the priority of the processor, then the request is accepted. What is the meaning of this? What is the benefit of independent request? See, just recall the principle of daisy chain. In the daisy chain, the device which is electrically near to the processor will be served first because they all together attach with a single bus. A single bus was there which was connected to the priority arbitration circuit to device 1, then device 2, then device 3 and device n. If device n is having a high priority and device 1 is having a low priority, but a acknowledgement, a service has been provided by the processor to the n, this device will not relieve this service to the n. It will serve first, then it will give the control to the device nth. So in such cases, this independent request method will be helpful over the daisy chain method. So as far as I have discussed the three different architectures, three different bus arbitration schemes or priority scheme, this is called as an independent request method. As far as exception is concerned, we will discuss what the exception is. The interrupts caused by interrupt requests sent by the IO devices, or you can say exceptions are the break into the or alteration into the journal sequence of a program is called as exception. Interrupt could be used in many other situations where the execution of the program need to be suspended and execution of another program need to be started. In general terms, exception is used to refer any event that cause an interruption. There are other types of exceptions are recovery from error, debugging, privilege exception, etc. As far as many source of error in processor, if you are having multiple sources of error into the processor, then error in the data stored will be considered. Error during the execution of instruction means you are executing a program and some error has been executed or some error has occurred, then it is again called as an exception. When such error are detected, exception processing is initiated. Means you are, I feel you have learned about the exception and exception handling in C++ or Java. We are having some exception and how we are catch and throw. I feel you are aware with the catch and the throw commands into the C++. So this is the case where some error has been occurred. We are catching that. We are throwing with the help of exception. We are with the help of exception handler. We are throwing that exception, and with the command catch, we are catching. We are recovering. We are detecting and correcting that particular error with the help of catch command. So difference between handling an IO interrupt request and handling exception due to error. In case of IO interrupt request, the processor usually completes the execution of an instruction in progress before branching to the interrupt service routine. In case of exception processing, however, the exception of an instruction in progress usually cannot be completed. So I feel you will find this lecture second very interesting because it's a very analogy lecture. the things which we have learned about what type of interrupts are there, what the difference between interrupt and the subroutine, the difference between interrupt and the you can say procedural call. Thereafter, we have discussed the issue of priority was arise, to which program, to which device the interrupt should be provided through the interrupt handler. And then we studied about the three types of priority interruption, means on which basis we should provide the priority. These are the three, like daisy chain. Thereafter, we have discussed about the polling. Thereafter, we have discussed about the independent request. So, and we have again discussed the exception handling, and the different type of ways by which we can correct and detect the errors. So I feel you will receive this video very soon, and thereafter the another third and fourth lectures of this unit will be provided to you very soon. Thank you.